Hello, everybody. It's me, Sai. Gonna be a little bit more off the cuff today. Don't really have any notes. In fact, I'm quite scatterbrained because I just finished up submitting my video for hashtag Pitch a Game, which, if you don't know, is a Twitter event hosted by one lovely man named Liam Twoes, who, through sheer grit and willpower, has managed to create a hashtag where people just promote their games and the cool projects, mostly game in the area of game development that they're working on. And so, just go to Twitter, search for hashtag pitch ya game, and you might see my game on there. And if not, you'll find a bunch of other really cool games. So win-win. But yes, just finished up earlier this morning my submission for that, and so quite tired, quite out of it, but wanted to get a video out just because there was something in the back of my mind that I wanted to just get out there. And the topic of this video, which is you can't be a pessimist and a game developer at the same time. And here's why. So much of the act of game development is just being okay with uncertainty and accepting that you don't know the shape of what is to come. So much of being a game developer is being willing to accept that uncertainty and move ahead with it and have faith that the systems and the gameplay and the experience will sort of coalesce into this whole and start to form a game, a fun game, hopefully, right? If that's what you're going for, or a depressing game, or a miserable game. Hey, like you get all sorts. But really, to bring it back, I guess, it's just something I've been thinking about more recently. Especially, you can assume that if I'm thinking about this, it probably means that things have been somewhat difficult. And in particular, like I'll just be honest, what I put out for the Pitch a Game event today, it was fine. It was a good enough video, I think. Spent a few days on it. Really hacked together some gameplay systems in order to sort of make it come together and try to really get something out in time for the event, which the deadline is like 4 p.m. Pacific time today. And so, I wanted to get something out there, but was trying not to be too attached to the result. And, more honestly, the reactions on the social media that follow, right? Like, it's hard not to get looped into the desire for validation with likes, retweets, so on and so forth. And that feeds back into the higher level topic, right? Which is a lot of the process of being a game developer is taking that uncertainty that just exists with any project, any creative project, and knowing, believing, trusting that in time you will figure out the pieces and that they will come together. But in the gulf between when you are working on the thing and the thing is good, this middle ground right here is a whole lot of anxiety. And in order to deal with that anxiety, the way that I've found is that one has to be an optimist. And hence the title of the video. And I don't know, I wonder, are there pessimistic game devs out there? Is this a thing? Like, have you managed to survive for so long? If so, and I'd be curious, please, yell at me in the comments if you vehemently disagree and in fact think game dev should be a pessimistic venture. But it's just interesting to think about, right? Like, in that middle ground where there's a whole lot of uncertainty and anxiety as to whether or not the thing that you're working on is going to be fun, whether anyone's going to care, whether anyone's going to enjoy it, and whether the time and effort that you're spending on this thing that is probably taking up a big portion of your life, especially if you're a professional or even moderately serious hobbyist game developer, is this hope that the thing that you're going to make is going to be good. And that's natural and that's good. But it's very hard to say, especially I think this is an interesting thing because I think the degree of uncertainty and conversely your ability to be optimistic needs to scale with the scope and size of what it is that you're trying to implement, right? If you're trying to make Flappy Birds, which, to be clear, I'm not dunking on people who choose to make mobile games or 2D games or whatever. That's not the point. But my point is, if you're making Flappy Bird, you already probably know that it's fun because there's a pretty laid down pattern, right? Like, yeah, there's a billion Flappy Bird likes. The business model, so to speak, or the gameplay model has been proven. And so there's not a lot of uncertainty there, right? Like, but if you're trying to do something weird and interesting and experimental, something that nobody else has seen before, maybe to some degree, or is at least passingly unique, or even trying to do something that maybe has been accomplished before, but trying to pull it off with vastly less resources, right? And so Gloomwood is a great example of this. They're a pretty small independent game dev team, but they're making an immersive sim, which is arguably one of the most complex genres of video games to make. Imagine the sheer amount of optimism it took to get them off the ground floor to where they are right now, right? Because they're doing amazing. They're doing really well. Like, New Blood is killing it. And Dylan Rogers, who I believe is the lead game developer on Gloomwood, we follow each other on Twitter, and I'm not going to claim to be familiar with him, but I've seen his work over the years, and it's just been slowly growing. And I think that's just a big piece of what it takes to be a game developer, right? Like, the thing that I see, apart from just persistence, because I think those are two separate qualities, right? And it's not that they're completely separate, but they feed into each other. You need optimism in order to be persistent, and you need to be persistent in order to gain optimism. These two things feed into each other, and they're kind of a feedback loop. And so if I had any advice, anything in the way of a takeaway from this video, and I do apologize because this one's rather rambly, if you're a game developer, try being more optimistic, because there's basically no downside. And if you are a game developer and you are pessimistic, it makes me wonder, how's that going for you? And I'm honestly curious. So yeah, I think that's it. That's this video. Apologies, it's not super well thought out. It's not very concise. I have no notes. It's literally just me talking to the camera, stream of consciousness. I wanted to give it a shot. But thank you for listening. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts, if there are any. I'll see you next time. Thank you.